Hey everybody, hope you've had a good summer. Welcome to Command Modern Air Naval Operations. This is the third video in our mine warfare series. The first two covered mine laying and mine sweeping. This one will cover ROVs and UUVs. So to start, our scenario is the Persian Gulf. There's a defined area at which our allied group must patrol for mines. In this case, we have a couple of mine sweepers, the USS Scout and Gladiator, which are Avenger class US mine sweepers. And on them we have some ROVs and UUVs. In this case, Remus and an older AN/SLQ MNV. And on the other, we have a Remus and our new AN/WLD-1 RMS. And screening for those two are HMCS Halifax, a Canadian frigate, and the USS Sullivans, which is an Arleigh Burke class destroyer. So we'll go ahead and start the scenario and get increase time compression. Okay, a number of mines have been detected. In this case, you'll see that the ROVs and UAVs are launching. Likewise, the minesweepers are moving in. The escorts are obviously moving on to their stations to screen the group. First thing I kind of want to show you, if we zoom in on USS Gladiator, you'll notice that behind it there's a shaded area. That's actually something that our programmer implemented to show you the area of influence that the minesweep gear has. And if you notice, there's the mine, there's the course which is parallel. Things work out well. That area of influence will be swept over the mine and the mine will detonate. And as that happens, we'll show you something else. The other thing I'd like to point out quickly is you notice there's a data link going to the, in this case, Remus. It's tethered, so that's actually what it's modeling. If you noticed over here, this is actually the AN/WLD. It's not tethered, so it's autonomous, and it's not data linked and all that. It's kind of a different thing. The nice thing is that with the tethered is that they only have a limited range, and likewise, when they run out of munitions, they will return to their mothership to rearm. So we'll kind of watch what goes on here. All right, so in this case, the Gladiator actually slowed down to engage the mine. You don't want to run over a mine at 25 knots. Again, our programmer made sure with our AI that the speeds are realistic with the engagement. Unfortunately, it makes very slow going. The other thing I kind of want to show you is how brutal an affair sweeping for mines is. As you may all well know, mines are detonated near the vessel. Mine warfare ships tend to have hardened structures to prevent a lot of damage, but they do take some regardless. And we'll go ahead and watch that now. And if you notice, it looks like a AN/SLQ and Scout are going for that mine. Now, if you look what happened, we'll stop time for a second. Gladiator actually detonated the mine, but it took a little bit of damage. So that's realistic. It's hardened, but it will take a hit. The other thing to kind of point out that it's possible to miss and actually detonate against the hull of the ship. You will lose the ship in most cases. Likewise, if a UAV or ROV is in proximity of the blast, it will be destroyed. So we'll start again. Let's see what goes on. So in this case, the AN/SLQ is working on destroying the mine. The other thing to point out here, if you notice, the sensors bubbles are kind of merged. something that our programmer discovered is that, when we looked at if we didn't merge them, and I'll show you what that looks like, you have a snarly mess, and that literally is all the sensor arcs and bubbles around each warship. So in his ingenuity, our programmer fixed it for us, so we can merge and things aren't as cluttered. So you can see the merge bubbles of the sonar, but also in WLD on its own. And as it gets close, it'll actually merge with the sonar bubble, which is pretty cool. Let's see what else is going on. A little bit of damage. So just to kind of review, if you go into sensors and all that, the sensors can take damage, weapons can take damage. It's entirely possible that a mine can really do you in if it wipes out your mine gear and all that. That's possible. Again, I think our model overall is probably the most advanced with any commercial simulator out there. One comes close, but I think this is it. Alright, so we'll kind of zoom out and get the bigger picture and see what's going on. If you look to the east, there's a couple facilities. This is obviously along Rand's coast. It's fairly fortified. It's entirely possible there's units out there that we don't see. Of course there are. And it's up to these two to kind of screen for trouble. So we'll increase time just to kind of move things along. Let's see what happened. Another mine. Actually let you know the distance. The other thing I want to point out is over on the left, you can actually see in the data blocks in the actually log on the left, you can actually write that to a text file. So whatever engagement is going on, you can actually keep a log of this stuff, which is useful for after action and all that. It gives you a good idea how the game works with the calculations and all that. It's pretty useful. Crank up time again. Actually, Scout took a bit of damage. If you notice on the data block, there's actually some flooding. So there is actually fire and flooding damage that will further damage your boat. This is probably minor flooding, so I don't expect it to be much. Again, mine warfare is fairly brutal. Alright, we have an air contact, which is inbound. 100 knots. Probably up to no good. So it's kind of resolved to a Bell 214A Huey, which is a helicopter. That's military, so again, probably not good. It looks like it's moving to investigate. Is that Halifax or the Burke? Ah, the Burke. Ah, Gladiator has major flooding. It's not good. Continue on. missiles. So a salvo of missiles is fired from that island. The Burke VLS has obviously gone into action. One thing to point out is Command's missile model is pretty advanced. It's not just about a bubble. It's about geometries. It's about movement, sensors, jamming, all of that. So it's pretty sophisticated, and positioning your warships is important, and that's part of the game. It's another decision point. You know, when I look back at this, maybe I shouldn't have, made the engagement zone so wide, because obviously now I've got the Sullivan's engaging on its own, and the Halifax may have been able to help. The Halifax carries Sea Sparrows, which is significantly less capable. And the other problem too is my mine layers are relatively uncovered. So we'll kind of see how this plays out. The other thing to notice is these are big missiles being engaged. They're Vampire CA-802s. That's a big missile, so if it hits either my escorts, be quite devastating, and it will likely annihilate a minesweeper. Increase time again. Ah, looks like they do see. So obviously they've kind of found the minesweepers and are moving to investigate. And again, we have more missiles coming in. And this is a big problem. Obviously my escorts aren't in a good position to defend those minesweepers. Pretty much out of the DLZ of Halifax. And unfortunately the Burke has already expended most of its warload defending itself. So the scenario was about minesweeping and all that, but it was also about positioning your escorts correctly to screen this group, which I didn't do. So this is not good. Obviously, these missiles are probably coming in. Notice you can detect the seekers and all that. These vessels don't have an electronic warfare suite or really anything much to defend themselves, other than with machine guns, which are not effective against ski-skimming missiles. So we'll see how this plays out. Probably not well. Maybe. We have an active missile seeker, which is not good. It's entirely possible for these seekers to home in on something else as well. That does happen in the game, so if you think about the Hanit engagement, where that poor merchant got hit, it's impossible. Alright, so looks like mines, everything's been hit. Flooding at 94.7%. This vessel is most likely destroyed, so if I continue on, yeah, the scout has been destroyed. So if you notice there's a little X over it, that's something that our programmer implemented as well. That's kind of the hulking of the ship. These are very small ships, so I expect when the last missile hits it'll be annihilated. But if it was a larger ship, and if it got down to 2% or whatever, you'd actually see a hulk there for a while before it actually sunk. So that's pretty cool. So we'll let that run out. Yeah, you can see what happened. It pretty much got destroyed. So that's about it for today. I hope you like what you've seen. Just so you know that we now are a company. We're Warfare Sounds Ltd. If you have any questions, you can reach us at our website on our forum at warfaresims.com, at Facebook, and at Twitter at Warfare Sims. Thank you, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.